The hypocrisy in all of that is we have a country that's supposed to be standing strongly for women's rights.
Yeah.
Until you get a trans involved, and then you don't hear anything about the women anymore.
Absolutely.
And it's so absurd.
Yep.
A man cannot compete with a woman.
Yep.
You know, I mean, shouldn't compete with a woman. A
Yep.
woman can't compete with him in sports like that. It's a known fact, but yet they're forcing it on everybody there. And it's, you know what gets me, Andrew, more than anything? Listen, I was on the street. I was a gangster for 20 years. I make no bones about it. That's who I was. But that's who I was. I admit to it.
Yeah.
It's who I was. The hypocrisy in these people right now is what gets me more than anything. They're such frauds and they're such liars. They get up there, and you know what would get me? Politicians get up there now daily, a daily basis. They had a thing, I read an article. In 17 minutes, Biden got on the air and lied 15 times. They fact-check him. 15 lies in 17 minutes. And you talk to people about that, and they say, well, it's politics. I said, it's not politics. It's lying.
Yep.
If your partner lies to you once, maybe twice, third time, fourth time, you're done.
100%.
These guys lie to you every single day, and you support it. You say it's politics. It's not. It's lying. And the worst part about it, they lie to the detriment of the people that they're supposed to be benefiting.
Yep.
And that's why I've been ranting and raving about it. You know, I almost lost my tour in the United Kingdom because of this whole thing. I have to believe that I've been very vocal,
Yep.
like you,
Yep.
you know, speaking up for what we think is right,
Yeah.
and they're coming after you for it. That's the bottom line.
Well, absolutely, because your ability to speak freely is directly correlated to your insignificance.
Yeah.
You can talk if nobody listens.
Yeah.
People start to listen, you have to be careful what you say.
Exactly.
And then they'll come along and say, oh, this is a free country. Yeah, you can say what you want. And then they'll attack you anyway if you say things they don't like. The free speech psyop, well, it's very interesting what you said about lying in politics. I want to talk about that in a second. But the free speech psyop is interesting because America as a country is unified by two things. One is money, and two is this idea of freedom, which doesn't truly exist, I believe. But other nations may be unified by a language or a color or a flag or a national interest, whatever. But America's unified by the idea that most people believe they can get rich one day, and they're unified by this idea that they are freer than everybody else. So I think to keep this scam alive, they have to allow people to do stupid things they can't do in other places. Because you can't truly criticize from a vocal platform the leadership without getting wrecked. That's the same in every country in the world. America's no better. So to pretend they're better than a country like Saudi or Russia, they'll say, but you can change your name and put a wig on. Mm-hmm. So we're free.
Yeah.
So they'll allow you to do insignificant garbage, but they won't allow you to stand up and do anything that's important. And then they'll say, but we're free because look at this garbage you can do that nobody wants to do anyway, unless they're psyoped into it. It's really interesting what you said about politics and liars. That's the ultimate slave mind when you say people go, it's politics. They've got us to a point now where we think it's perfectly acceptable and perfectly normal for the people that we hire to represent us to just lie the entire time.
Exactly.
And I mean, that's fraud, isn't it? I don't know. You're representing my constituency and you vote against our interests every single time.
100% fraud. 100%. Listen, you know, and again, some people say, well, Michael, you were in the mob. I said, exactly. But I didn't pretend to be, you know, fighting for the people.
Yep.
We were fighting for ourselves at that point in time.
Yep.
However, I will tell you this. We treated people better than they treat us.
100%.
100%. Our communities were safe. Our neighborhoods were safe. We didn't prey on innocent people.
Yep.
These people, okay, they lie, they get on a campaign, they say this and that, they get in the office, they totally reverse themselves to the detriment of the people that put them in office. And to me, there's nothing worse than that, Andrew. Nothing worse.
I agree. And then the only way this makes sense is if you look at the political landscape and you understand who they actually work for. Because people say, why are they doing this? I hear often people say, well, politicians, well, they're just stupid. If they're so stupid, how come they're in charge of you?
Yeah, they're not stupid.
They're not stupid. You think they work for you. That's your confusion. You think they represent you. And you're like, why are they doing all these things? That's against my interest. Because you're not their concern. They work for somebody else.
Exactly.
And they're passing laws for their interest. The people who make the rules make rules to benefit the people who make the rules. They don't make the rules to benefit the common average person. You know, I catch myself doing this. A lot of the things I talk about in the world and how I view things, and I'd really be interested in your input on this, because I came from absolutely nothing and now I have a little bit of money. And I occasionally catch myself being elitist. I catch myself being elitist. Like if I meet somebody who I went to school with and we grew up in the same area and we've had the same amount of minutes of life, and I managed to be monumentally successful and they can't pay their bills because they were too busy smoking weed, I don't feel sorry for them very much. I'm actually like, well, you're an idiot. You could have found a way out. You could have tried harder. There's always a way. You didn't try hard enough. And if you extrapolate that out, I'm somebody who was only poor 10 years ago. Imagine you're born into a banking dynasty. Imagine you're born into a lineage of people who have always been rich. Imagine how you're going to view the common man. They think we're cockroaches. They don't care about us. They have no concern for us on any level because they believe they're completely different. They're in a different class. They don't believe in nation states because they're globalist. They're above us in every way. They print the thing that we all slave around and run around for, money. So of course they have no concern for us. So when they get a politician in power and they get him to pass laws that are to our detriment, it doesn't cross their mind that that's not what they should do. For the same reason, I'll make a law or I'll make a decision in my house that will be detriment to the ants outside. I don't care. It's my house and it's their world. And this is the reality of it. And I don't know, I'm very interested how that ties into your story with the mob and getting big and getting rich and getting famous. Did you ever get to a point where you're just like, you know what, you common people, I don't want to talk to you anymore?
You get to that point.